Thank you for joining Simply Cooking with Shawn. If you're new here and you love food-related content, you're in the right place. So like, share, and subscribe. And when you do, click that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. In today's video, I will be preparing a Southern New Year's tradition, a dish called Hoppin John. It's a dish made with field peas and rice. The ingredients that I will be using for today's recipe are black pepper, cooking oil, onion powder, garlic powder, salt, field peas, parboiled rice, a ham bone, neck bone, and ham hocks. The first step in preparing this dish is to get the peas cooked. I've got my peas opened, and then I'm going to pour it into this bowl. I'm going to give it a wash. Now, you can cook these peas on the stove or in your crock pot or even your Instant Pot if you have one of those. I am going to cook it in the crock pot. So I'll let these cook overnight. If you're going to cook them on the stove top, I would advise that you let them soak overnight, or you can do a quick soak. To do a quick soak, the directions is right on the back of the package of peas. And so I'll set them to the side. The next thing that I'm going to do is to get my ham hock and neck bone washed. With the ham hocks and neck bone washed, I'm going to go ahead and add the ham bone. And I'm not going to wash that because it's what's left over from a ham that I prepared earlier in the year. And just a note, if you prepare ham any time of the year, don't throw your ham bone away. Put the bone in a freezer bag, store it in your freezer, and later on in the year when you're preparing greens or beans or peas of any sort, you can add it to your pot for some extra flavor. Got my neck bone in there, my ham hocks in there, and my ham bone. Now, if I didn't have this ham bone that has a significant amount of meat left on it, I would have utilized more ham hocks and more neck bones instead. Though I have a lot of meat in here, there is room left for the peas. So I'm gonna go ahead and just add the peas right in with the meat. And I'm just going to add some water. I'm going to add the top to it. And I'm going to let it cook on low for 8 hours. It's been about 9 hours. So I'm going to take the lid off of the crock pot and check on the peas. You can also see that the meat is coming away from the bone. This is what you want to happen, and it's at this time that you want to go through the pot of peas and remove all of the bones. If you're using smoked meats to season your pot, taste it before you add any salt, because you don't want to over salt your food. And I'm telling you, the meat that I put in here has got the beans with a great flavor. I am going to add some black pepper. I'm going to add a little garlic powder, just a little bit, because this really does not need much at all. Now when I add the rice in it, I will taste it again to see if I need to add anything, any salt then, because I will have to add a little more liquid into this and the rice, and so it may require that I add some salt at that time. But for right now, this is got a great flavor. So I'm going to return the top to it, and I'll let this cook for another 50 minutes or so, and then I will get it finished up. This has been cooking for an additional 50 minutes to an hour from the last time I checked it. So this is all ready to go. And so you want to cook this until the peas are tender. And after cooking it all overnight in the crock pot, it's likely, trust me, it's definitely going to be tender. But I want to show you. They're easy to press. And that's what you want. You want them to be nice and tender. All right, so I'm going to turn this off. And then we'll get everything into the pot so that the rice can be added so we can get this all finished up. Normally I would just empty this into the pot there, but for the sake of the video, I want to give you measurements. I'm going to strain the liquid off of the peas. And so I'm just going to pour it into this right here to get the liquid drained off. And then I'll just take it and just transfer the peas into the pot here. So for the amount of rice that I'm going to be using, I'm going to measure out 5 3/4 cup of liquid. So that's 2 cups. That's 4 cups. So I need a cup and 1/4 more. So I'm going to pour what's remaining in there. Just fill this to the 1 3/4 cup line. I pour that in. So now I'll take this over to the stove. I have my cooking oil here. I'm going to add 1/2 cup to the pot. I'll give that a stir and let it come to a boil. While the pot is coming to a boil, I'm going to measure out 8 cups of rice. Now give it a wash. Once you washed it, you want to get as much water off of it as you can. So I'm just going to pour it right into my basket there. And I get it added to the pot. As you can see, the pot is now at a rolling boil, which is where you want it to be. So I'll just go ahead and add the rice. I would encourage you to use an 8-quart pot just to hold all of the ingredients. All right, so now I'm stirring it up. And I'm going to let this continue to boil until most of the liquid has been absorbed. And you want to stir it occasionally to make sure that it doesn't stick to the bottom of your pot. After you've let it come to a boil again for about a minute or 2, you want to go back in and taste it to make sure that your seasonings are where you want it to be. This is the time to add additional seasonings to reach your desired taste. And as you can see, most of the liquid has absorbed. And now I'm going to transfer this into a large baking pan and add a lid to it and put it in the oven that I've got preheating to 400 degrees. Pour it in. Spread it evenly among your pan here. And as you can see, this is quite a large pan. This is enough to feed about 30 to 50 people, depending on what you are serving along with it. If you prepare this much, you can share with family or friends. Or if you're having a get together, it's a perfect dish for that. If you're just doing it for your household and you don't have a lot of people to feed, you can cut this in half. And of course, if you cut it in half, you'll only use half of the peas. I'm going to cover this up and place it into my oven, as I said, for 30 minutes. And I'll come back and check on it. Okay, it's been a little over 30 minutes. So at this time, I am going to pull the pan out and see how the rice is doing. I'm going to give it a stir. And it looks like it's already cooked all the way through. I'm going to stir it thoroughly. I'm going to sample this. And this is done. Easy dish to prepare. It does take a little time, but it is well worth it. I encourage you to give it a try. I will leave a list of ingredients in the description box below. If you have any questions, feel free to drop it in the comment section or send me an email. That concludes today's video. Remember to like, share, and comment. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I appreciate it if you go ahead and subscribe and click that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. Until next time, be blessed.